Welcome to Emerge Wednesdays. I'm Dorothea Schuler, and I'm so glad you decided to join us. On this week's show, we'll be speaking with Mr. Terry the GOAT XXL Fenner, a pure Renaissance man for the 21st century. They don't call him the GOAT for nothing. As well, we will be speaking with Mr. Tony Hawkins, the owner of OVA Props and Designs. And of course, a little later on, we'll be making a divine decision with me, Dorothea. We get to hear Deshana drop some jewels as she gives us her 2 cents on finance. But first up, like we always do around this time, we get to hear some amazing tips from Tiffany to help you emerge as a CEO. So come on, let's go and tiptoe over with Tiffany into the CEO's Corner.
Emerge yourself. Hi, everybody. It is Tiffany, and welcome to the CEO Corner. It is International Wealth Mentality Month, and that is held annually throughout the entire month of January. It serves as a reminder to get our finances in order and plan our financial strategies. For those who work in the finance industry, it is your time to discuss your financial situations and goals with new clients. It is also an opportune time to touch base with current clients and make adjustments to their current strategies. Being financially prepared will bring you peace of mind and security both in long-term and short-term. Many people have a goal to grow their wealth and add to their assets. These goals can be accomplished by having a wealth mindset and putting several skills into practice. Now, a wealth mindset is a set of beliefs, habits, and behaviors, and it's a guide to follow so you can make the most out of the money you have. Spending less, saving more, and looking for ways to improve your financial situation are some ways that can fast track your journey to financial freedom, which is what we all want. Well, I assume we all want. You should also be protecting what you have and monitoring your financial situation. This month serves as a reminder to take your finances into account. Wealth can be categorized into 3 principal categories: personal property, monetary savings, and the capital wealth of income-producing assets. If you don't know what those are, Google them. Financial security provides a safety net against a decline in one's living standard in the event of job loss or other emergencies. Let me repeat that. Financial security provides a safety net against a decline in one's living standard in the event of job loss or other emergencies. So for the last 2 weeks, I have been discussing and focused on financial wellness and wealth management. Let's go, CEOs. We have to be the example. I'm Tiffany Boyle, and that's my tip from the CEO Corner. You are tuned into the Emerge Radio Show. Our first guest is Terry Fenner, educator, entertainer, and entrepreneur.
All right. Hi, Terry. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. How y'all?
We are doing well. I'm speaking for me, not we. I'm doing great.
I am amazing.
Good.
You will learn about me, Terry. Amazing is one of my favorite words. I say amazing a lot. I hear myself. I'm like, dang, is everything always that amazing?
I know, right? I say, what do I say? Nice and great. Nice. That's nice.
You said awesome. That's Tiffany's favorite word is awesome. I'm amazing. Tiffany's awesome.
So, Terry, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do and what you got going on.
First of all, I'm Terry Fenner, but it depends on how you know me because I'm also XXL. I kind of walk a tightrope between 2 walks of life. But in my later years of life that I've been around, I've been able to kind of merge both. So people actually know me from 2 sides. One side, I am a high school administrator, assistant principal at Heritage High School. I've been doing that for 5 years. I've been in the field of education for 20. I was a classroom teacher for 15 years. So I taught middle school for 10, high school for 5, and I've been an administrator for 5. I've been blessed, and I say this humbly. I've been Teacher of the Year twice, once at middle school, once at high school, and last year I was named Newport News Public Schools Assistant Principal of the Year. Secondly, I am also a concert promoter / artist. I've been a hip-hop artist since I was about 6 or 7 years old. I like to tell my children and tell people I was almost famous. It didn't quite reach fame, but in the region, I've been able to do some amazing things, perform for tens of thousands 100,000 people, tens of thousands of people at one time, dominated the radio at one time in my youth, danced around major record deals, and I've been able to travel and tour with national artists. And now basically what I do is me and the missus put our money into concerts, and we book entertainment concerts for this area. So that's pretty much me in a nutshell.
I did not know you were an entertainer yourself. I learned something new today. Awesome. But you also have Goat Talk Radio, right?
Yes. That's the latest endeavor is me and my good friend of mine, CEOP, have Goat Talk Radio. We also have Only Built for Goats. And what we do with those two platforms is we are pretty much hip-hop debaters. We debate hip-hop. We debate other things, but a lot of it is based in hip-hop argument. And it goes from different things like who's the greatest rapper of all time to the best producer, who was the best one-hit wonder, best black quarterbacks. We debate these things, and it's pretty interesting how we go back and forth. We pretty much can debate about anything.
So I need to listen to the show more often. I do listen to it, but more often just so I can learn, because I'm not into sports at all, so I can even tell you like about quarterback. And I remember when you were at the Emerge premiere, your question was, what are like the top 5 MCs, like best MCs, something like that, right?
Yep, best MCs. I think we asked you.
You had to ask me R&B.
Yeah, best R&B. Who was the best?
Yeah, because
the top 5 R&B.
I was like, I listen to rap, but I don't listen to it enough to be like, oh yeah, such and such. And to list 5, I'd be like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, like, because I need to know everybody's list, because this is my thing. I'm a lover of music. And, I don't judge people at all, because people come from different walks of life. We experience different things. But I totally judge people on that musical taste. I can't help it.
Yeah, that's true.
What people listen to can tell you a lot about a person.
That's true. But if you ask these young people, they probably going off of like NBA Young Boy. That's the only one I can remember, because that's the one the girls, my daughter and her, oh my gosh. And I was like, why?
Yeah, I think I know a total of no NBA Youngboy songs. It would be none.
You are fortunate, let me tell you that. And I don't know how you get away with it working in high school, because I'm sure they all listening to who knows who. Like, I don't know how these names. Young somebody. But no, that's awesome. Like, your life has been pretty interesting. And I'd say you've emerged at everything you've done, from being in the school system to, having your own business and being an MC yourself. That's awesome. So what is like your favorite thing, if you have one?
If I could not do anything else and just do what I absolutely love, the number one thing, it has changed. 43 years old, I'll be 44 in March. And the way it has changed is when I was about, my teenage years, I just thought I was going to be a rapper forever. I just want to rap. That's what I wanted to do. But what I've learned is it doesn't have to be rap. It's me with a mic in my hand. So if it's hosting, if it's doing a podcast, if it's speaking at a function, if I got a mic in my hand, then I'm the most comfortable. So when I was younger, rapping is what put the mic in my hand. And I've delved in other things. I've actually been able to do comedy on a major scale. I'm just an entertainer by nature.
Oh, nice.
So, what I heard Terry say is that whenever we had an Emerge event and we need entertainment, he is comfortable with his mic in the hand. And he can be entertaining, whether it's comedy, hosting, MCing. Terry got it.
You heard it right.
We on the same page. That's right. We on the same page. We on the same page. I'm like, I know who one of our acts will be at the Emerge Gala this year already. Who will be on the red carpet, of course. You guys were awesome. And performing. So don't forget us.
Hey,
okay.
I'm here for it. Yes.
So what is like some advice you would give to somebody who wants to do multiple things, still has a 9-to-5, but also runs a business themselves?
2 things. One, anything that you are doing, make sure you have the passion for it, because a lot of times the passion is what's going to drive you when you're tired and you don't feel like doing it. We know that when we're passionate about things, I always tell the kids, it's like playing basketball. When you're running up and down the court, you are extremely tired, but you still go as hard as you can because you're enjoying what you're doing. And I try to get that to translate to them in class, to develop some passion. Even though you don't feel like doing this work, let your passion drive you getting it done. That's the number one thing I would tell anybody. And the second thing is, it's good to look at the big picture, but when it's all said and done, just wake up with the mindset that I'm going to do something small and great today. Whatever I do is going to be towards my overall goal. Because a lot of times when you look at the the big goals, you're not going to see those gains immediately. And that can kind of be discouraging. Like for me, with music, I had very lofty goals for myself. In my mind, I was going to be the next Biggie or Jay-Z. And anything short of that was failure. I had to sit back and look and like, no, I'd have performed at the Hampton Coliseum in front of 10,000 people. I'd have been on tour. And that only happens when you look back in hindsight. When you're in it, you don't see it all the time. And it can be discouraging. So accept the small gains. If you wake up and do something great towards your goal every day, even if it's small, when you look back 2 or 3 years from now, you'll be surprised at how far you came.
That's perfect.
I think you touched on a great point. I'm a big proponent. I like doing workshops and things to better myself, a lot of professional development. Mm-hmm. And so I did a strengths finder. And one of my top strengths is I'm an achiever. And it kind of warns you, when you are an achiever, you make lists, you have your goals, but we often forget to live in the moment. It's always, I accomplished this, what's next on the list, instead of like, I accomplished that. Let me live in that moment, let me enjoy that space. And so I completely understand, what you just said.
Oh, we are twins, because that is definitely me. I'm definitely an achiever.
Let's say triplets. I'm like, yep.
Look, my list, okay, I'm accomplished. I got this off the list. And then it's just like, dang.
What I got to do next?
With the merge, we did so much in 2022. So you know how you can do on social media recap? And I'm like, we did a whole gala and award show. We did a 3-day event for entrepreneurs. Like when we were in it, it was like, oh my gosh, we did it. It's done. We can rest. But it's like, think about all the planning that goes into the big stuff that we do. And that day, like sometimes you're so tired, you don't even get to enjoy it, but looking back, it's like we did something really amazing.
Exactly. And I understand that feeling. It's a balance, and because I believe that nobody should be too much of anything. You have to be your biggest supporter. You have to root yourself on and take time to say, you know what, we did all right. But on the same hand, I believe you should be your biggest hater. Mm-hmm. You should be like, hey man, you tripping. You can do better. There has to be a balance. Too much of either one of those things can throw you off of what your goal is. So you have the balance of being your supporter and also being that person to tell you, nah, this ain't it. You can do a little better, dog.
And it's so funny you said that, because I know that Dorothea, Tiffany, and I, even during our event, we're like texting each other, all right, like this went great, but for next year or next time, we're going to have this together. Like, oh, we did this. They loved it. Wait, they can't even imagine what we're doing next year. So yeah, I would say we got to work on being our biggest supporters, sure. We got the hate part down. We're always trying to top what we've already done, for sure.
Yeah, that's true. And that's exactly what we had with it. Like, I just had a meeting with my guys that I do go talk with, because we have a whole team, a production team, those things. And we just did a recap of last year. And in our mind, before we did the recap, it's like, man, we're still trying to get to the aspiration of getting to a certain level where millions are viewing or talking about what we're doing. And we were just like, man, this year won't it. But we got to listen to things we did, and being on the CW for 3 months. And one of the things was being on the red carpet at the Merge Awards, and getting out here and being at major events and being a sponsor at the Slick Rick show when it came to like, we did some amazing things. And it's okay to make those small games.
So I have a question, because, sometimes when we step out on this entrepreneur journey, you have your haters, right? People that don't have your vision, they're going to be the naysayers. But what I've really been seeing in the last couple of years is I have people I surround myself with, and they're so supportive. And in my mind, I'm not doing enough, because I might not be hitting my goal exactly. Like, we might not hit the goal we set for Emerge, but we're still doing great things. And those people are, all right, y'all need to slow down. You're doing too much. And I'm like, oh no, we're not doing enough. Like, do you ever feel like that, where you feel like you're not doing enough to reach your goals, but other people are like, what you're doing is great, you need to kind of chill out for a minute?
I feel a couple of ways about that. One is it is very hard for me to even call a person a hater. I know haters exist, but I don't share my ideas and go. I share it with a very small group of people, and they're naysayers too. But being that I trust them, it hits a little different. I'm not going to share an idea or anything I'm doing with somebody I don't trust, because trust is a big part of it. And when they tell me to slow down and don't do this, no, it still doesn't feel good. It still gives you the same feeling feeling that what you would consider quote unquote hate, but it's coming from a credible messenger, that messenger is coming from somebody I trust. So when me and my friends, because I tell them all the time, man, I don't know about this, or we need to this or that, but it's coming from me. So even if it don't feel good, just give yourself a moment to reflect on what I said and see where I'm coming from. So a lot of me and my friends, and this comes from the show too. If you would hear one of our arguments, it's textbook on how people should talk to each other. We got that thing down pat. It's very few arguments that get passionate to the point because we have rules. One of the rules is no name calling. No name calling at all. Usually name calling is when the arguments go left. That's when debates turn to fighting. So I got to find another way to tell you I think your idea is stupid without saying your idea is stupid. And that cuts down on a lot of the confusion. One of my homeboys, we do three-way calls all the time, and he was like, man, I just learned so much from hearing you and his back and forth. Because my friend came to me with an idea. It didn't sound like a good idea at the time, but I had just literally, I was in a bad headspace because somewhere else that happened. And I said, dog, I hear what you're saying, but right now it may not be a good time to talk about this because I just blah just happened and I'm not in a good headspace. Everything that you tell me right now is I'm probably going to come off negative. So let's just table this until tomorrow. And he was like, yo, did you just say? But we developed that friendship over years because we're friends and we've been business partners for 20 years. And it's important that we separate those things because that's usually what causes things to go erased. So we've mastered how to talk to each other. And a part of that comes with me working in the school system and having to talk to kids. And I want to model to them how to talk to people because they don't always have the tools. And I know that was a long speech, but I said that all to say that you can't even hate on me because you won't have an opportunity to. I'm my biggest hater. I'm going to hate on myself. I'm the biggest hater I got, to be honest. I have to get out my own head to get things done. It's not nobody. If I have conviction about something, it ain't nothing you can do to shake it anyway. The hate is only going to make me go harder because now I got to show you that I know what I'm talking about.
Right. I love it.
That's right. Preach it. Preach it. Yes. Well, if you are just tuning in, you're listening to Emerge. I'm Tiffany Boyle, co-host Deshana Kemp Garnett, and we are talking with Terry Fenner, and he is just giving us so much wisdom on how to hate on ourselves. I don't know if that's how I'm supposed to say it.
You know what most hate is just projection. It's
right.
You can't do that because they couldn't do it. So they're just telling you from their experience something they failed at. And that's not necessarily wrong, but that's usually what it is.
Or I think sometimes it's also people can't grasp maybe where your idea is going to go because they can't imagine it themselves. Yeah. I think that's a lot of it too. So it's interesting. But like you said, it motivates us. And I think being entrepreneurs and business owners, we have a different personality type. So we take that, ball it up and put it into something productive.
And I think you hit the nail right on the head. Personality types have a lot to do with that. Because if you line up 100 people right now and ask who wants to be the boss, all 100 will raise their hand until it's time to do the checklist of what the boss has to do work-wise. And you realize that only 3 of them truly want to be the boss.
Right.
People want to be the boss because the title is sexy. It has nothing to do with the actual work because we know a true boss eats last. He takes care of everybody. When it goes bad, he or she is the first to take the blame. And you got to make sure everybody's straight before you even get a plate. That's the true definition of a boss or a leader in my book.
And you get questioned about every decision you make. You get questioned about the things that they don't see that you're doing. Like it's a lot. Say
it again. The question.
Yep.
The question.
Yeah.
You want to do my job? Do you want to do the job? Because I can give you all the resources to do the job. Yeah. Oh, you don't want to do the job? Don't come how I do the job.
It's a lot. It's definitely a lot. Yeah. Sometimes I'm like, do y'all know my personality? Because it's like they question certain things, and I'm like, but I'm always here looking out for y'all. And but it's interesting. So tell us, Terry, how people can contact you, follow you, and all the different businesses.
The good thing, a couple of things. One, you can follow me on Instagram at IamXXL, or you can type in my government on Facebook, which is Terry Fenner, or you can go to the website. We have a website called Only Built for Goats. Matter of fact, I prefer you to go to onlybuiltforgoats.com, and that lists everything. My bios there is telling you how to get in touch with the other things that we're doing. We also have merchandise for our site, the Only Built for Goats t-shirts that you can, or anyone that can purchase, or just find out what we have going on for our episodes of Goat Talk. So onlybuiltforgoats.com is probably the best way to get in contact with me and my team and what we got going on.
I love it.
And I just found you on Instagram. I love it. So when people talk, I want to find it because I'm like, it's that simple. I am XXL. I found it that quick.
Yeah.
Got less than a minute, right? Didn't even take that much time. All right. So it has been our honor and pleasure talking with you. But now it's time for this chat to come to an end. But I do get to ask you my favorite question, which is our signature question. What does the word emerge mean to you?
The word emerge means moving on to the next level or the next platform that's going forward motion from where you're at. It's almost like you're breaking out or busting through something. In the terms of what that word means to us as African Americans is breaking through that glass ceiling and showing excellence and top-notch quality in whatever we're doing.
I'm going to use my words. That was awesome. Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate you coming on the show today and sharing with us a little bit about yourself and what you got going on, and really giving a lot of advice to our listeners. We really appreciate it, and to us.
And I appreciate y'all for having it. And I can't wait for the next Emerge Gala. I'm here for it. I'm there.
That's it.
And we're going to do some talk.
And we keeping it on the peninsula. We are going to keep this great thing on the peninsula.
I love it. We're there.
Emerge yourself. Greg met his mother at their weekly dinner spot. She was about 15 minutes late because she took a wrong turn. They chatted through the meal, and she mentioned that she stopped playing cards with her friends. After eating, she excused herself and asked directions to the ladies' room. Greg missed 3 warning signs of Alzheimer's. Did you? Know where Alzheimer's and all dementia hide. Learn more at alz.org/10 signs. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association.
Wake up and text. Text and eat. Text and meet up with a friend you haven't seen in forever.
Hi.
Oh, hey. Text and complain that they're on their phone the whole time. Text and listen to them complain that you're on your phone the whole time. Text and whatever. But when you get behind the wheel, give your phone to a passenger. Put it in the glove box. Just don't text and drive. Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Come to the Hampton University Museum and Archive. Free and open to the public, travel back in time and enjoy the masterpieces from the 19th century, the Harlem Renaissance, and even contemporary movements such as Afrocobra. We are home to the largest public collection of African American art. You can also admire the museum's special gems like the Liberty Pen, used by Abraham Lincoln to sign the Emancipation Proclamation. Founded in 1868, we're the country's oldest African American museum. Explore our 10 galleries of fine art from Pacific Islander to African to Native American. We also welcome students and educators to find over 10 million primary documents and photographs for curriculum research. We take pride in our national treasure and hope you do too. Call 757-727-5308 or visit museum@hamptonu.edu for more information and events. Keeping you informed, we are the essence of HU 88.1 WHOV.
Welcome back. I'm Dorothea Schuler, and you're listening to Emerge Wednesdays, the radio show that's all about entrepreneurs and business and is the premier information source for business owners. If you're just now joining us, Tiffany and Deshana just spoke with a very special guest, someone I call brother, a pure Renaissance man whose name rings bells throughout the entire VA. He's not just an assistant high school principal, but a performer, radio talk show, podcast, and red carpet host, guru and vet, one of the gatekeepers of real hip hop in VA, Mr. Terry XXL, the GOAT Fenner. So, if you missed this interview, you definitely want to go back and catch up as well as listen to any of our previous shows by visiting emergethemagazine.com. Okay, everyone, it's that time for you to take this moment with me to emerge into your greatest potential by making a divine decision with Dorothea. A decision is a conclusion or a resolution reached after consideration. And divine, well, that means excellence. So we're making an excellent choice. Now, with that being said, let's make the divine decision today to believe. The dictionary defines the word believe as to accept something as true, feel sure of the truth of, It's fair to say that people across the globe believe in different things and come from various backgrounds and cultures. But the truth is, we all daily share this number one action, one that ultimately factors into and births manifestations, producing results in our lives, whether good or bad. That mental action is our ability and the conscious choice to believe. I'll tell you, this past week was amazing. I attended the Big Dipper Innovation Summit held at Virginia State University, featuring an amazing series of various expert panels that consisted of knowledgeable, talented, successful, and driven individuals ranging from entrepreneurs, CEOs, presidents of, and professors at universities of higher learning, farming and agricultural entrepreneurs, financial and investment banking pioneers, government officials who serve or have served in various elected positions and offices, urban and cultural redevelopment specialists, radio, media, and broadcast personalities. And if that's not enough, a soon-to-be Forbes 500 founder of a globally mainstream television and broadcast network station. I specifically listed all the different areas of representation and those in attendance because there was an underlying theme that connected all of them. It wasn't listed on the program or directly inquired about to any of the panelists, so to speak, during their interviews, but this idea, this decree, this underlining campaign and backstory of all of them was to believe. They stressed the importance of it being the number one factor in why and how they got to where they are. They shared that despite the facts present during any point in their journeys, they continued to believe they could and would become the change they wanted to see. Despite what took place during the process of obtaining the lives they desired, they chose to believe. Regardless of any criticism and lack of support from loved ones or others, in order to be successful, you have to believe and have confidence in yourself and reject any negativity and discouragement. Some even talked about leaving their jobs or even investing almost all of their resources and the drastic steps of faith it took to make those decisions. I left every day inspired and overwhelmed with gratitude for the many jewels of wisdom, encouragement, and guidance I received, and allowing their testimonies to cause me to believe even more for the life I'd already prayed and asked God for, and to believe and continue in my preparation and planning for my future. I felt a harmony in my spirit of how these individuals decided to emerge just by believing. I'm going to leave you with something I've stood on for about 14 years and will continue to stand on. And Jesus said unto her, My daughter, if you only believe, you shall see the glory of the Lord. Join me today. Make the divine decision to believe. Knowing this decision will ultimately help to shape and create a path that reflects a light of excellence in our lives. This has been another Divine Decision with Dorothea. And you too can be a part of Emerge Wednesdays by submitting your response to our signature question. What does the word emerge mean to you? Share that with us on our IG at Emerge the Magazine. And I'm still over here bringing in the new year with my Emerge family. And for the month of January, I decided to highlight for our listeners their individual responses to our signature question. This week's response comes from Jason Smith, the owner of J. Smith Entertainment, LLC, and he just happens to be the sales and advertising director here at Emerge. To me, the word emerge means breaking out, leveling up. Well, that says it all. You can follow Jason on IG at j.smith entertainment. That's j.smith, E-N-T, j.smithent. You're enjoying Emerge Wednesdays, and up next, Deshana and Tiffany will be speaking with Mr. Tony Hawkins, the owner of OVA Props and Designs.
Emerge yourself.
We are here with Tony Hawkins. We're so excited to have you on the show today. And can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. My name is Tony, which is a nickname. My actual name is Wallace Antonio Hawkins. I'm from Newport News, Virginia. I was raised and grew up here, a native of Warwick High School, and I went to college at Old Dominion University in Norfolk, where originally my major was music education and engineering, but it kind of geared off as I got older and it changed. I dropped out because I wanted to find myself and decide what I wanted to do in life. Throughout all of that, I learned that I had some talents in some other areas where I began to make items, to build props. And actually, my mother taught me how to basically sew basic things. And from that derived me starting my own company where I build props and make costumes. And then after that, I worked a little bit in the workforce. And when I ventured into my late 30s, I had a vision for myself that I wanted to give back to the community. So my mother used to tell me that if no one will let you sit at their table with your ideas, you have to build your own table. So that's when I decided to create my own organization with the name of Way of Hope, where I focus on giving back to the community. And one of which, what I decided to gear it towards the children because they are our future and they are our tomorrow. And I wanted to give support to those that are homeless. And I wanted to give support to those that were recently incarcerated because everybody deserves a second chance.
That is so awesome. And that was a lot in a short time span. So.
Yes.
I also know you have no warrants because you gave us your whole government. So we appreciate it.
Right. Nothing to hide, nothing to lose. I've been through such a short period of time.
I know you said your mother said if, they're not inviting you to the table to build your own, but what was the reason, why you wanted to start Way of Hope? And then why did you decide to call it Way of Hope?
Interesting that you would ask me that. What led to that conversation with me and my mother is that, in 2020, COVID hit. And before that, I had been working for an organization for about 7 years where I was a supervisor of a customer service agency. I learned all the facets of the different departments in that company. And I felt like after being there for over 5 years, entering my 6th and 7th year, I felt like that was where my career would be. But however, when COVID hit, we lost a lot of employees. So they called a meeting. Our boss said that they was going to have to downsize and let one of the supervisors go. Being the competitive person I am, I always like to be number one in everything. So I felt like I was definitely not one of the ones that they would let go. So they asked for volunteers. Of course, I didn't volunteer. So they said in 7 days, they would end up letting someone go if someone didn't volunteer. Never did I thought in a million years that I would be the supervisor that they would let go. But that's what they decided. They didn't even wait 7 days. They came to me and they asked me to follow them to the office, and they told me that they were letting me go. They didn't give me any reason. They just told me they decided to part ways with me. And that destroyed me in that moment. I couldn't get no understanding. I literally felt like I couldn't breathe when I left out of the building. I was confused. I sat in my car, I know, for about an hour trying to make sense of the situation. To make a long story short, I got myself together and I did a lot of talking to a lot of my friends and family, most of all my mother. And we talked for hours about my thoughts and feelings about everything. And I told her how frustrated I was and said I always wanted to start my own, but I just felt like I wasn't ready. And I felt like this was going to be my place. So my mom told me that had I ever thought about it in a spiritual sense, where maybe this was God's way of pushing me in the direction of creating my own. She felt that being that I wasn't given a reason of them letting me go was also a sign that it was nothing wrong with my work. It was just time for me to move into a different facet of life. So that conversation pushed me towards starting my organization. I thought of the 3 things that meant most to me that I wanted to give back in the community. And that's when it came up with the youth of the community, the homeless, and the recently incarcerated individuals. The reason why I say recently incarcerated, because I myself, when I was was young in my 20s. When I dropped out of school, I got into a lot of trouble running to the street, being a hothead, and I ended up being locked up myself. And because of that, it was hard for me to find employment when I was released from being incarcerated. And I got turned down in double digits of great jobs. But when they did my background report, they will always retract their offer. When I did finally get that job that I spoke of and was there so long, I thought that was where God wanted me to be. But lo and behold, it was time for me to move on. I received his sign and I started the Way of Hope. I call it the Way of the Hope, the Way of Hope, because I want to provide resources for those that need help, educate those that don't know, and provide them with resources. And that means youth, that means those that are homeless, and that means those that are recently incarcerated, to give them the motivation that when one door closes, the next one may open. And you got to stick in there and be determined.
That is right. That is amazing. And it shows your tenacity and your perseverance and really how you merged. And I really appreciate that. So when did Way of Hope get started?
It's going into its third year, actually 2 years ago, or almost 3 years ago. In 2021, I decided to start Way of Hope. We actually officially went downtown and got our paperwork on my mother's birthday, which was January 15th. So we're actually entering our anniversary this weekend.
Oh, how exciting. Well, happy anniversary.
That's an amazing anniversary to celebrate. The anniversary of your business. And I feel like, what you were just talking about, how you felt, kind of devastated in that moment when you lost your job. But Tiffany and I had a conversation with another business owner not too long ago about how God will move you, right? When you're not in alignment and you're not walking your purpose. And personally knowing you, being at your event, seeing your work ethic and your spirit, I can tell that you're more in alignment with your purpose than you probably were at that job. So I'm sure everything worked out to your benefit.
Yes. Yeah. Everybody tells me that when I was actually working that job, yes, I was trying to be number one in everything at the job. But whenever they would have special events, parties and stuff, I will always do the decorations and make the costumes for everybody. And people would say, why are you here? This is not your calling. And I'll always be like, well, I don't know if I'm going to make enough money doing that. So I'm going to stay right here because this is a sure paycheck. And I'll get to that when it's time. And then when they let me go without an explanation and my mother talked to me and she kind of put things in perspective for me, it was just so clear. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to step out on faith and I'm going to move into this facet. And it has been overwhelmingly a joy to do this. It hasn't always been grace because life is filled with ups and downs, stumbling blocks, but I definitely know that this was what was meant. I didn't like how it was pushed in this direction, how it felt, but I'm glad for the outcome. And I feel like, it's been an amazing adventure.
Well, let me just say, if y'all have never seen Tony's work is amazing. I mean, absolutely amazing, jaw-dropping. It's crazy because I was at my job this week and I kind of volunteered myself for something, not knowing what I was doing. And then when I figured out what it was about, I'm like, oh, well, I can reach out to Tony because I know if I ask him to make this, I know he would kill it. So your work is absolutely wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It really means a lot. I've always been nervous, before about opening up my work to the community because I feel like, I don't want to mess anyone up. I don't want to have a dissatisfied customer. So I will always do stuff most of the time for just my friends and family because I know if they get upset, I feel like they'll just get over it. But then I had certain friends. I had my best friend, my business partner, Jason Smith. He told me, he said, you got to get out there. He said, I'm going to help you. I'm going to tell everybody about your work and you're going to see. And he was right. All my friends were right. It's just been an amazing adventure. I'm so thankful and grateful. The organization helping children and seeing the looks on the kids' face when they see the props and the costumes and coming to the events that we have for them, the joy on their face and their parents when they bring them is just an amazing feeling.
It is. At the last event, I went to the Breakfast with Santa. I believe you were probably inside still working, but my mom and I, when we were leaving, we got to our vehicle, she had to turn around and go talk to Jason. And she literally cried her eyes out just talking about how amazing it was, to see the joy on the kids' faces. So, I mean, you don't even touch the people more so that you're aiming to touch. Just other people being in the presence of what y'all put together is absolutely amazing. But I want to kind of change gears. Talk to us, because you are a nonprofit, right, Tony?
Yes.
And we've seen you put on amazing events. You know, I was there for Halloween, I was there for Christmas, but what does it take, you know, to run a nonprofit and to be able to put on these amazing events in the community?
It takes hard work, patience, and dedication. Those three things. You have to be patient, you have to be willing to work hard, and you have to be dedicated to the cause. A lot of people, and even me, from not knowing, with just looking at other people with nonprofits, don't really understand the way nonprofits work. Nonprofits work, for those that may not know, off of you getting donations from the community, servicing the community, but operating with the donations that you have from the community. So first and foremost, you want to make sure that you have things lined up where you have events where you're taking donations. You can, whatever, you want to be creative about it and bring those donations in. And you take those donations and you invest them into events for the community. A lot of organizations that give these grants and give your support to you, they want to see that you can operate on your own based off the community's donations when you're servicing, investing those donations back into the community itself. And when you get in the habit of doing those things, that's when you will get more help from other organizations and other people when they see that you're willing to go for it and do this on your own. A lot of the stuff that Way of Hope does, I was already involved in doing before we became official. I already was helping with other events with other organizations. My best friend Jason, his organization, he does stuff for children. I was already stuff. So this stuff that I'm doing now, a lot of it I was already doing on my own, taking my money out my pocket and investing it in there. And when they see that you're doing that, other people it becomes infectious, where other people want to help you as well. Being able to operate without just always receiving a profit. That's why they call it nonprofit.
Well, that certainly was a mouthful. If you are just tuning in,
that's what you was asking. I'm sorry if I gave too much information.
No, you're absolutely wonderful. Look, if you're just tuning in, this is the Emerge Radio Show. I'm your hostess, Shana Kemp Garnett, along with co-host Tiffany Boyle. And right now we are talking to Mr. Tony Hawkins of the Way of Hope Foundation. And he is I just have to brag on Tony. You know, when we get the opportunity to meet someone and we know them personally and we can attest to their work ethic and what they do, I'm going to take this opportunity to let the world know how amazing what you do is for our community. So talk to us quickly. Do you have anything planned for 2023?
Yes, we just recently got a grant from the city of Hampton. So we're going to put on an empowerment workshop. It's from the ages of 18 to 24. Anyone in the community can come. We'll be having it in Hampton, and we're looking at a date sometime in March. And it will be a workshop where we will talk to the young community about building their self-esteem, motivation, interviewing skills, looking for jobs, those type of resources in the community so they can feel empowered, have self-esteem, that even when things don't always go right, that they have the courage and the strength to move forward and make an impact a positive impact in the community. So that be on the lookout for that in March. And of course, in April, we're going to do our Fun with Bunny, our annual Fun with Bunny, where we do stuff for the kids. We love our kids. And that's going to be the Saturday before Easter, where the kids can come receive Easter baskets, prizes. There'll be games for the kids to play. They'll meet the Easter Bunny themselves. And then we have our annual big Easter egg hunt. And we'll have special golden eggs where there's cash money in it. It's just going to be a fun time. And that's why we call it Fun with Bunny. We have those events coming up, and we're also in the works of picking a date sometime soon where we're going to go out in the community and we're going to feed the homeless. We're working now with the Union Mission, contacting the Union Mission so we can figure out the easiest and most feasible way in a location to do that. Unfortunately, the place where we have most of our event, C. Waldo Scott Center, has recently closed. So we're in the search of now finding another hub to have most of our events for this year and going forward.
Tiffany, did you catch all them dates? Because I feel like Emerge is going to be busy at all these Way of Hope events.
Yes. I am loving it. So, Tony, with all these dates, all these events coming up, please let us know how we can contact you, follow you, donate to Way of Hope. Give us all of the details.
Okay. If you want to see Way of Hope footage and pictures of Way of Hope, we are on Facebook. You just type in Way of Hope and our page will come up. We're also on the internet. It's wayofhopeinc.net. It's just the way I said it, wayofhopeinc.net. And that's our website. And it gives you information on that website. If you want to leave us a message, if you want to make a donation, it gives you that information. If you want to send an email, it's wayofhope757@gmail.com. You can give me a call if you want to just talk, or if you know someone that may need help that just recently been incarcerated, you can give us a call. My number is 757-320-8258, or my COO, his name is Jason Smith, 236-7708, area code 757. So there are many different ways to contact us. We're right here in Newport News, but we like to service this whole community in this area. We're excited. We're so fresh. We're just getting started. So it's always more to come.
I think that's my cue. If y'all can see me, I'm doing my happy dance. So now is the time where I get to ask you our signature question. And that is, what does the word emerge mean to you?
Emerge means to me when you have come from one level to another level, whether you're already in a good position or whether you're in a place of lowliness. The word emerge means to bust forward, to taking things to a higher level and being an overcomer. A lot of times when I hear emerge, I think of the times in my life where I've done a lot of things that I wasn't so proud of. I tell this story so many times, and I told it when we were doing the news report, that one of the lower times in my life is when I was in court facing difficulties, and the judge allowed me to have people to come speak on my behalf. And I had like 3 people come speak on my behalf, and they spoke so well of me and talked about how talented I was and how I was such a good person. So after that, the judge was like, wow, he said, when I listen to these people speak about you, Wallace Hawkins is such a great person. He said, but when I look at what you're facing and why we're here, it just shows a totally different person. He said, and the reason why I say that is I want to give you time, he said, to sit back and figure out what person you want to be. Do you want to be the Wallace Hawkins that they describe, or do you want to be the Wallace Hawkins that's on this paper? He said, so I'm going to give you some time to sit back and relax, which he gave me the time and I took it. He said, and you take this time and you figure out who you really want to be. So when I think of emerge, I think of how I emerged out of all of that darkness and was able to find myself again and to step into the talents and the gifts that God gave me and to be able to share them in the community. So when you say emerge, it means to come from one position to up your game to a new level and a positive level and a higher level in your life.
I feel like you almost took us to church a little bit.
I think he did.
I think he did.
Doing my church dance.
Oh my goodness.
No, that was a beautiful definition. Thank you, Tony. And thank you for all you do, for having a heart of giving and not stopping when trials hit your life, because the kids need it. Our community needs it. And we really appreciate you and your whole team. They're just wonderful for doing what you do.
I appreciate you taking the time of having me up here, that I'm able to share my story, be able to talk about Way of Hope and service in the community. It feels so good to be able to be myself, because along the way, I felt like I had lost myself. And I'm just so grateful that I've been given the opportunity, the second chance, to be able to show myself as well as others that I can be a lot better than what I have been. And I think Emerge, the name of you guys, this magazine, it says it all.
That's it. That's what we're all about. I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate you being on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
When I was a gang leader, we probably did business together, because when people like you buy knockoffs on the street, often the money goes to gangs, and gangs use this easy money for other activities. In other words, they're getting a lot of bang for their buck.
Counterfeits hurt, but you have the power to stop them. Go to www.ncpc.org/getreal. A message from the National Crime Prevention Council and the Bureau of Justice Assistance, U.S. Department of Justice.
Hey, I thought you and the boys were doing some environmental cleanup thing today.
We are.
Well, it looks more like you're going fishing.
We are.
And that's the example you're setting for our children.
Uh-huh.
Conservation is easy. Every time you purchase a fishing license or register your boat, you're helping to preserve our nation's coastlines, lakes, rivers, and streams, protecting memories for generations to come. To learn about all the ways your participation in boating and fishing help the environment, visit takemefishing.org/conservation.
I've been driving trucks for a long time, and safety is my number one priority. I know that my truck has huge blind spots. That's why I remember to check my mirrors often for smaller vehicles. Everyone can help keep our roads safe. Next time you're behind the wheel, try to avoid lingering in those blind spots. It can be dangerous. Let's all plan to share the road safely. Learn how at www.sharetheroadsafely.gov.
Live Vape Free is a free program focused on helping parents and other concerned adults talk to young people about the harms of e-cigarette use and vaping. There are videos, live chat, toolkits, and activities to begin the conversation about vaping. Live Vape Free is also for young people who want to quit using e-cigarettes, Juul, or vapes. Virginia is for vape-free teens. Learn more at livevapefreeva.org. Brought to you by the Virginia Department of Health.
Emerge yourself. You're listening to Emerge Wednesdays.
I am Deshana Kemp Garnett, and it is time for My 2 Cents. Hello and happy Wednesday. I hope you all are having an amazing day. Today, what I'm going to share my 2 cents on is kind of what I introduced to you previously, and just a reminder that January is National Financial Wellness Month. So what does that mean to you? I just want to remind you to plan and update your financial strategy. So what does financial wellness mean to you? It changes from, person to person. I actually feel like last year I defined what it meant to me, but it's kind of just you knowing your relationship with money. So these are the things I want you to consider as we are still going through Financial Wellness Month. How much money should you have saved? We know things happen in our personal lives, in our business. Make sure you have money saved that when things happen, it's not an emergency. It's just an expense that you need to take care of. How much income should you be bringing in each month? We've had vision board workshops. We've planned for the year. You should know what your goal is, but not only what your goal is, what do you need as your standard to make sure you can pay all of your bills and you can keep operating your business efficiently? Think about where you are with your debts. Would things be simpler if you carried less debt? How fluid is your cash flow when it comes to expenses that are not urgent? Finally, and perhaps most importantly, will you be able to retire at your target age? So as we go through Financial Wellness Month, these are just some questions we should be asking ourselves. If you need additional help, I highly recommend you reach out to a financial professional. I can point you in the right direction of a financial professional, or as a financial professional, I can help you myself. I am Deshana Kemp Garnett, and that's my 2 cents.
Here's what's coming up in Hampton Roads.
Let's take a look at some local and regional activities. Wednesday, January 25th at 5:30 p.m., a workshop, How to Start Your Own Business at Williamsburg Regional Library, 515 Scotland Street. For additional information, visit allevents.in. Thursday, January 26th. Looking for a networking event near you? We're calling all small business owners to come out and network every second Tuesday from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. or every fourth Thursday, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. This will take place at 313 High Street, Portsmouth, Virginia. Saturday, January 28th, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m., Breakfast for Bosses. Breakfast for Bosses is a monthly networking event hosted by Peace and Ground Wellness and Business Center and Steva's Kitchen every fourth Saturday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Come out, eat, and network. This will take place at 313 High Street, Portsmouth, Virginia. Saturday, January 28, 2023 at 9 o'clock a.m. to 2 o'clock p.m. A one-day conference to equip nonprofit organizations to start well and continue in the great work they are doing in the community. This is offered by the Legacy of Hope Foundation. For additional information, visit allevents.in. A special thank you for the guests on today's episode. To listen to previous episodes, visit emergethemagazine.com.
Emerge yourself. You've been listening to the Emerge Radio Show. All opinions expressed on this show are that of our guests and may or may not be shared by the Emerge Radio Show staff. Follow us on Facebook. Search Emerge Radio Show. On Instagram, Emerge the Magazine. And online, emergethemagazine.com.